clapping in 5, 4.
There it was. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Oh boy.
Oh, read all about it. Hear ye, hear ye. Extra, extra. Mike Gibbons all over the country, but coming alive on Sunday papers, recording a few days early. It's now Thursday.
You don't sound so hot, pal. You don't sound so hot.
No, I am coming down with something. It's Thursday, and I feel pretty sick.
Okay, I'm going to have to carry most of this then.
Well, you know, it'd be like the Footprints poem, you know?
You sound a little light, but it's probably my broken headset.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I'm here. Listen, I'm in Florida. Big news today about Trump being indicted. It's right down the street. They say that may delay the protesters very much for Mr. Trump. All line up on the bridge. They don't let them on Palm Beach Island. So they're on the bridge that goes to West Palm, and that's the bridge I got to take to Fort Lauderdale. We'll see how it goes. I will be honking in my support of whatever gets them out of my way.
So what are they what are they protesting against? The porn star? What did she do wrong? What's the gist of the protest?
The gist is that it's an unfair witch hunt. And at one point, I guess this was found out, at one point, I think it was during the impeachment maybe, or at some point over the last year and a half or two, a giant flatbed with a prison, with a prison cell on it. And I guess maybe, some puppet thing that looked like Trump inside. And anyway, they then journalists found out that was paid for by Russia.
No.
Yes.
Wait, I thought Russia loved Trump.
No, I know. Well, what they love is discord here. And so they were supporting the protest. I think it was making him look imprisoned, like, in other words, a victim. And I think there was pro-Trump, like, look what they're trying to do.
Right. So who you got down there? It sounds like you got a whole gang of people down in Florida.
We have the whole gaggle. Spring break. All right. So wait, I got to share this. So I am rushing now to New York at the end of this podcast because Olivia and I are looking at seemingly every school in the Northeast. And
except BU. Really nice. Nice.
I don't think it's for her or me. So it was perfect for you. Pond. So she's down here. Now, there are a bazillion rules, like, as you know. Like, I get busted for my shirt's not tucked in. You have to have a belt. You can't wear your hat as you're walking out to the golf. You have to be on the, like, I feel like I'm a 14-year-old trying to, force my way into high society. So when you play tennis at this stupid club, you not only have to be all in whites, it includes sneakers. Your sneakers have to be white. So the girls, anyway.
This is the whitest story since Gwyneth Paltrow being hit on a ski slope in Colorado.
We're going to talk about that, a little deep tease. No, but my point is, we all have these crazy challenges, right? It's the worst thing, whitest thing ever. So also bringing dress shoes, because Olivia just likes wearing Doc Martens, right? So she brings down dress shoes. We never wear them, but now she's like, can you take them in your bag? Laura and her daughter are going back to L.A. Caroline goes, you know what? I can fit them in my backpack. We'll take them from Olivia. So Caroline grabs these shoes that Olivia literally made a special trip to her mom's because she realized she had no dress shoes, and she grabbed them. And then Caroline's like, these are different shoes. So here's a picture in the car. Here's a picture. I don't know if you could see. One heel is twice as big as the other, right? So we're like, oh, my God.
Are those the last kid picked in gym class shoes?
Then Caroline goes, oh, my God, they're different sizes also, and holds them up. And one is gigantic compared to the other. But do you notice something else?
Yes, they're both right feet.
They're both right feet. I think there are only 3 possibilities, and she went 0 for 3. They're the wrong shoe, they're the wrong size, and they're both righties. Imagine if that's all she had to wear, like to dinner with Grandpa one night.
Wait, so what did she wear? She didn't wear her Doc Martens, did she?
Yes.
To dinner?
Well, we took her to dinner like in the club, but to a restaurant, yes,
Okay.
that's what she wore.
Right.
And it's like, should I bring this up at the colleges? I'm about to go tour with her.
Yeah.
Like, this is what this kid's capable of.
Yeah, right. My left foot, my right foot. So,
crazy.
So now when she goes to a restaurant with you guys, because her cousins are 21, or one of her cousins is 21, right?
Fake IDs.
Does
This
your
cousin,
daughter?
Caroline is 19.
Oh, she's 19, right? So does everybody has fake IDs and everybody orders drinks?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
And in Florida, their IDs work very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, JoJo just ordered a new ID from China, and they sent her 4. So she has 4 IDs in case the guy. I think because China has realized that the kids get them stolen. The bars take them away 50% of the time.
Forget TikTok. China's stealing our identities and everything by with all our IDs.
Dude, my fake ID. My brother was a year older than me, and when we were growing up, the drinking age was 18.
I know.
So when I was 17, he turned 18. So I got his ID then. And then once we turned 18, it went up to 19. Remember that?
Yep.
And I got his ID. And then when I turned 19, it went up to 21.
I forgot about the 19 bump. And you
Yeah.
were always grandfathered in, right?
Yes, you were grandfathered in. And
Which means poor doormen had to do math, like
right.
more complicated math than they do now.
But I remember one time I got in Boston, you couldn't use a driver's license. They wanted you to have what they called a Massachusetts something
State
card.
ID. All right.
Yeah, and it was not a driver's license. It was literally to get into bars. And so you had to go to the DMV. So I went to the DMV with my brother's information. And I look somewhat like my brother, but not exactly like him. And so I go up to the window and I filled out all the forms. And I've got his driver's license and I think his social security card. And I give it to them. And the lady starts filling out the form. And then she holds up the picture and she looks at me. And then she calls over a police officer. And this is a federal offense. And looks at it, and he goes, yeah, he's fine. I was like, oh.
It was a real ID.
Yeah.
We were so industrious, so I won't name names, but one of my roommates, who was an engineer, he put the camera on the tripod, set up on the wall a giant New Jersey driver's license by printing it out like on some big printer. Anyway, and then we would have people tell us their name in advance before they came over. So we would print out their name and all their like bio stuff, height and all that, date of birth. And then they would stand, wear their picture in the square on the lower left side of the New Jersey ID or whatever. And we'd take that photo and then print it out to the exact size of the ID and then laminate it. We made so many before we realized it's not worth it. We're the ones they'd be coming after. Forget confiscating IDs.
I was friends with a kid in college who was Dan Brickner's roommate, I believe. No, they were both from Philly. And he was a kid that...
Wonderful.
When I was a little kid in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, I lived there. I think we moved there from the Bronx when I was about 6. And I lived there for like a year. And maybe 2 years. And my next door neighbor, the only thing I remembered was my next door neighbor had jet blonde hair, and his name was Chris. I'm not going to say his last name. And so we moved back to New York. I don't see the guy again. Freshman year, I show up to the dorms on the first day, and the dorm room next to mine says Chris and the same last name. So I knock on the door. Door opens. This fucking kid with long jet blonde hair answers, and I go, Chris so-and-so? And he goes, yeah. I go, Greg Fitzsimmons, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And he goes, get the fuck out of here. So he was friends with Brickner.
Yeah.
And we snorted crank the first night. We stayed up all night the first
I'm
night.
well aware, yes.
And then this kid started making IDs. Same exact thing. He had the giant board. He had the Polaroid camera, the laminate machine. And he did it. And it was a Pennsylvania ID because those were really generic. And then all of a sudden, like T's Pub and Father's 2 and every bar in town was like, why are there thousands of Pennsylvania IDs all of a sudden? So the feds got involved, and they fucking knocked on their door at 5 in the morning, their dorm room. And they came in, and this kid got fucking hung out. He got thrown out of school.
Oh.
His father was in politics, and so somehow he stayed out of jail. But it was like a federal offense.
Yeah.
He stayed out of jail. And never heard from the guy again until maybe 15 years later. And I'm in L.A. and I walk into Comedy Central and I see a door, an executive's office. And it was his fucking name.
Doors.
I knock on the door and it's fucking him again with the long blonde hair. I was like, "What's up, man?"
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, fake IDs. Be careful with them.
Yep. Be careful.
No such thing as Photoshop back then. That's why we were literally like cavemen making IDs.
Yeah. So how's the college tour going, though? Did she like anything?
No such thing. Was there any such thing as there wasn't even a laptop. Was there?
No, there was.
There wasn't even a home computer, really.
No, there wasn't. I remember the best I had is I used to type my papers. It was a Brother word processor.
Yes,
so it
I
actually had
also.
a memory on it, and it had a small screen, but it had no functionality. There was no internet.
No, that's why we got writing done.
Yep.
But I remember that Brother word processor that it would let you. It was remarkable. It would kind of let you see a page before you committed to typing it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And I used to tape naked pictures from Playboy on the screen of that word processor and jerk off.
Interesting. Oh, all right. So that was the internet. That was your internet.
So did you guys find any good schools? What is she like?
No, she's looking on her own at Columbia today. And then we're doing Vassar, Wesleyan, Middlebury, UVM, Dartmouth, Northeastern.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wait, so you're flying to New York today and you'll see Columbia later today?
She's going to Columbia while I'm flying. She has friends in New York. They're all going to go look at it.
Oh, so she flew to New York alone?
Yeah, she flew to New York alone.
Wow.
With her fake ID.
Nice.
Yeah. And she literally, as she's getting out of the car at the airport here, she's like, real ID, real ID. Here's a real ID.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. I think TSA might detect the fake.
Yeah. Damn.
I think anyway. But she doesn't have pre. I don't know. I don't know how kids, I don't know. She's 17. I don't know how you go about getting pre. But I left her in the dust on the way here. I'm like, you're not pre. And then I went to clear. I'm like, well, can't I bring my kid through clear? And they're like, you absolutely can. But they have to have TSA on their boarding, on their boarding pass.
Right.
She didn't. I'm like, all right, I'll see you on the plane. See you, sucker.
I once got upgraded to first class coming back from Costa Rica, and my family was all in coach. And I said, can I use this? And she looked at me in a way, she didn't say a word. And I was like, I'll sit in coach with them. That'll be fun. And so this guy was waiting. He was waiting to get upgraded to first class. And I heard him say that. And I said, you know what? I'll give this guy my first class ticket and I'll sit in coach. And it turns out the guy was like the CEO of Adidas. And he asked me for my address. He sent me 2 duffel bags, Adidas duffel bags filled with swag, fucking sweatsuits, sweatshirts, T-shirts, like like really high quality Adidas shit just to thank me.
Not one maroon item, right in the trash. The whole duffel right in the trash. There it is. Oh my God, you are literally wearing an Adidas maroon like top.
Yep. I think you might have sent me this.
Wow.
But then there was also the Adidas sale here in Santa Monica where they have a warehouse sale
Why
once
did
a
those
year.
stop?
I don't know. I used to love those.
It stopped before COVID. I don't know what happened.
It was an airplane hangar. It was literally like 100 yards long, filled with tables covered in like cheap as shit Adidas stuff. That's all I wore.
Yeah, inexpensive, but like some of like current shoes and stuff, and of course all the sweats and bags.
Yeah.
It was
Yep.
great.
Oh yeah.
Cleats.
Yeah.
Cleats was a big grab. Like I grabbed cleats. I remember having cleats that they were 3 years away from wearing because the size was so big.
Right.
But they were like $5.
I want to give a shout out to George from Germany at GS Artworks for doing the logo this week. What do you think of that logo, huh?
It's very animated.
I mean,
How about that?
It's very animated. It's very cool. It's the same guy that did the Over My Shoulder, the poster. George
I love
did
it.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I could see that for sure.
Guess what else George did this week?
The song?
The theme song. It's a double dip from George from Germany. Fucking great song. I mean, it's just like a perfect intro song. He nailed it.
Well, that's because I think a week or two ago I kind of sympathized with Germany because of All Quiet on the Western Front. That
Right.
that surrender, the terms of the surrender, World War I, a little too harsh. Little too harsh.
Well, they were
Came back to bite them.
Yeah. You're talking about World War I?
World War I.
Yeah. The
They
Treaty
show
of-
it. They show
Treaty
that
of
scene.
Versailles, right? Yeah, it was the Treaty of
Armistice?
Versailles.
That's what it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what they depicted, I think, was a little, the first one maybe, or maybe they oversimplified, where it was France at the table and Germany on the Western Front was surrendering to France. On that front, that's what I saw, and that's where they brought up the terms. Anyway, yay, Germany.
Some corrections. Phil McCracken, who we love,
Of course.
has said, "How did you miss gorillas back then?" Here's what I love about the internet and podcasting is you will say something like, man, you know, I just somehow missed gorillas along the way and I found them and I'm really enjoying them. And then somebody will go like, hey, what the fuck is wrong? What are you, a fucking idiot? How did you miss gorillas, you fucking jacka? And people are just so fucking aggressive on the internet. They speak to you in a way that they would never speak to you in real life. I mean, not that Phil McCracken was not that harsh, but it started off sounding like that.
Yeah.
He
I
goes,
agree.
if you're just discovering them, you should know it's one guy, Damon
Idiot.
Albarn. You fucking asshole. The guy behind Blur. It was his side project, the original virtual band. Initially, the songs are all Albarn with awesome support from great rappers like Del the Funky Homo Sapien and Kid Koala. That's amazing that that's one person.
Yeah. That's cool.
Damn, that guy's a genius. Danny M said you neglected to mention anything regarding rape during Hagar the Horrible and did not use the word cuck to describe Dagwood last week. So that was a correction.
Solid point, Danny. Yeah, we're dropping the ball here.
Bob Pedersen, Bob Pedersen may be our most OCD listener because he always catches us on the slightest corrections. Mike
right,
is
what do
really
we got?
blowing. Mike is really blowing it this week. He keeps saying dilation for dilation. There is no
absolutely
sound.
do that. I guilty. I totally say dilation. Are your eyes dilated? I always say that.
So
and
do
I guess
I.
it's dilated.
I always say dilation. Yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
I
All
do
right. Good to know.
I do say aluminium though.
An advertisement. Okay, what's this affidavit? He's right again. I do pronounce it as if it ends in a D, and it ends with a T. I guess it's affidavit.
Affidavit.
He's right though. In my mind, I know I say the D sound.
Correction. You keep telling us where you will be doing your show. Next week you are doing Louisville. You say Louisville. It's actually Louisville, like beautiful, which is absolutely right. And they get crazy in Louisville when you say it wrong.
I think if you say Louisville, you also say New Orleans. New Orleans.
Yeah, I say New Orleans.
Instead of New Orleans.
Yeah.
It's Louisville, and it's a little lazier. It's a little, you got to turn up the temperature. You're a little exasperated. You're sweating. You're on the porch. It's Louisville, New Orleans. It's not, I'm even probably doing New Orleans wrong still. Not slow enough. New Orleans.
Well, if you live in the Louisville area and you're excited to see some stand-up comedy, good news. I'm coming there this weekend, April 6th through the 8th. This was kind of a last-minute gig, so tell everybody you know. Let's get some crowds out there. Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, April 13th through 15th. Levity Live in Oxnard, California, April 22nd. Escondido, April 28th through the 29th. That's around San Diego. Huntington Beach, Rec Room, May 12th. Also coming to Columbia, Missouri, Kansas City, Austin at the Mothership. I'm doing Joe Rogan's show May 25th through the 27th, and then Boston after that. Yeah, I'm psyched. I'm going to come out and do a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, probably hit a bunch of the podcasts while I'm in Austin. I'll see your old friend Tony Hinchcliffe, probably do his show.
Love Tony.
Tony's like, apparently his show Kill Tony is sold out for like 6 months in advance or something.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah. You know what? And good for us because, you know, we got screwed on the tickets that we bought for Bruce Springsteen when we went to Tulsa. And Game Time, if we'd known about it, we could have gotten last-minute tickets for like $20.
Yeah,
it's this premier marketplace for events in sports, music, theater in 60 cities across the U.S. and Canada. You don't need to print anything. It goes straight into your phone with a couple of taps. It allows you to take advantage of being spontaneous. In the last minute, you hear about a show, boom, you get on, and you don't get reamed on tickets. It's no hassle. So
it is normally the most stressful thing. And even when you're on other like ticket auction sites or whatever, I don't even know how to describe them. It feels like an auction where you're just going to get outbid. Happens to me.
We paid $250 for our tickets.
Yeah.
And then I went on Game Time. It's gametime.co, not .com. And their website is so easy, and the app is like so simple, and it shows you stuff that's coming up right away. And here's the best part: they've got a best price differentiator. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, you ready for this? Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference, so that takes the stress out of it.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah. So here's what you're going to do. Browse through the Game Time app, and just you'll agree with me of how great it is. You don't go out. How often do you regret going to a concert? It's one of these life experiences that you just got to do, or going to a sports game. It's what life's all about. So here's what you're going to do. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code FITZDOG for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code FITZDOG for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, low price guaranteed.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and they have Smashing Pumpkins. Coming up. I'd love to see them. They have Drake, John Mayer. Get this. This is the one I'm most interested in, which is saying a lot. Tom Jones, dude.
Wow, he's still going?
And I think he's still going strong.
Damn.
I think I'd like to see him. I've never seen him. And I think I'd like to see that dude.
That guy in his prime, unbelievable.
Well, Elvis said about him, he's like, because he came out, you know, like out of the gate big, and he's like, there's no way that guy lasts. He's like, he's yelling. Like, there's no way his voice lasts.
Right. Oh, I just realized something. I gave you guys the code FitzDog. Use the code PAPERS. I had used the copy from, I also do this ad on FitzDog Radio, and I use the copy. So in this case, if you're hearing this on this show, use code PAPERS. Okay.
Nice. $20 off. Anyway, check out Game
paper?
Time. I don't got a paper. I'm in Florida, man. We don't read.
Let me see what I got. Oh, my God. This one, I could wipe my ass with this one. It's so soft.
I'll have a paper next time.
All right. How about
you know what one of the biggest papers is down here? The New York Post.
Here's
everywhere.
The paper I found in my office. Here's the date. August 29th, 2021. Should get a nice crinkle out of this.
Extra! Extra! Read all about it! Extra!
And at that time, we didn't think the world could get crazier.
That's right.
Okay, is this the lead story?
Lead story.
Former President Donald Trump faces more than 30 counts related to business fraud in an indictment from a Manhattan grand jury, according to two sources familiar with the case. Earlier, a spokesperson for the Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, said the office has contacted Trump's attorney to coordinate his surrender for arraignment on a Supreme Court indictment, which remains under seal. Quote, guidance will be provided when the arraignment date is selected, it added. Trump will likely appear in court early next week, his defense attorney said. And I think there's whispers that it's Tuesday. And all I can tell you is Trump is a mile from where I'm sitting right now. So far, no moves.
Now,
he wants to be seen in cuffs.
Yeah, like he was with Stormy Daniels.
Yeah,
why are they keeping the indictment under a seal? How does that protect it?
It's usually standard practice, I think, when you're indicted. But I
you'd think it would get wet and smell like fish.
I see what you're doing there. But I think also there's in the last minute that I checked, he's already using this to fundraise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the fundraising has begun.
All right, he's the best. He's number one.
For the richest man in the world, according to that man.
A North Carolina teacher has resigned after putting tape on an 11-year-old boy's mouth in an apparent attempt to stop him from talking during class. She's also been nominated for Teacher of the Year by the Teachers Union. WRAL reports Catherine Webster received a text from her son Brady, a sixth grade student, with a selfie showing blue painter's tape covering his mouth. On February 14th, on Valentine's Day, maybe it was a little Valentine's Day gift for the other kids.
How about some sweet nothings? Here we go. You're going to do nothing.
We're going to get Brady to shut the fuck up today, everybody, so you can be romantic. I don't know what to do, Brady wrote along with the photo, according to screen captures of text between the child and his mother. And you can see the photo down below. It was not one piece of tape across the lips. She fucking masked this guy up like Hannibal Lecter. He's covered in blue tape. So she contacted the principal, who prompted an investigation. And apparently it's happened several times to kids in the class, and that the teacher would also sometimes tape their wrists together. Well, look, in the teacher's defense, she's run out of glue and lost the stapler. They're not giving teachers the supplies that they need in the public schools.
He's no rat, though. Who did this to you? They couldn't get the tape off in time.
You know this is going to create some kind of fetish for this kid later in life, right? Shows up for a first date with wine, roses, and some fucking 3M masking tape.
Just can you go to the chalkboard that I also brought for you? And I'm going to start talking out loud and being disruptive. And then you do your thing.
And while you do your thing, I may or may not be texting with my mother.
Florida is already recruiting this teacher. I can tell you that right now.
Yeah. She's going to be a hit down there.
Oh my God. I kind of like it. I mean, teachers are driven crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm sure this was more playful than the kid made it seem. And also, she should break his fingers. Why is he texting his mom in the middle of class?
Exactly. My sister is a public school teacher, and she's been attacked physically numerous times. It's a tough gig.
Well, the kid wouldn't be able to bite her if she just taped up that face of his.
2 inmates in a Virginia jail used primitively made tools to create a hole in the wall of their cell and escape, only to be found hours later at an IHOP restaurant nearby. Authorities discovered the 2 men, aged 37 and 43, missing from their cell in Newport News jail annex during a routine head count. An investigation found the men exploited a weakness in the jail's construction design using tools made from a toothbrush and a metal object to access rebars. Authorities had asked for the public's help to find the man, and they were taken into custody again early Tuesday at an IHOP in Hampton when other patrons called police. Fucking rats. Maybe,
Wow.
do you think they thought they were safe because they were in another country?
Wait, what's the other country?
It's the International House of Pancakes.
Sorry.
It's got all kinds of flags. Each table has little flags on it.
Yeah, does America have the right to go into international waters, so to speak?
You're right. Do they have to extradite them from international?
Meanwhile, they're
House of
playing
Pancakes?
they're playing legal blackjack in there. Yeah,
Right. There's 17-year-olds drinking legally.
I'd like to use my international attorney. He does international law. This is clearly above your jurisdiction.
Yes, I'd like to plant this $5 million in an account here.
I didn't see that patrons called on him because my thought was it's still pretty dumb where it's like, all right, where should we hide? I don't know, someplace cops would never go. I got it, a cheap breakfast place with free coffee refills.
Right. Hey, Lefty, we did it. We busted out of the joint. I got a broad who's got my loot. We can scram before the pigs get us. Wait a minute. New York cheesecake pancakes and waitresses who were hot when we were first locked up. Let's go, Lefty.
You guys want this to go? Nah, you know what? Let's eat it here. You know what? We're going to eat it here. We deserve it. We've had quite a day.
This is the greatest advertisement. Advertisement or advertisement?
I think today we go with advertisement.
For IHOP of all time. Prisoners running for their lives who have to stop at a fucking IHOP.
Totally. It's like some scene. What is it like? There's a ton of them in movies where you could escape, but like your buddy or your family member or a wounded soldier is left behind, and it's like, there's the door right. Oh, well, the famous one, of course, is
Shawshank Redemption, right?
Did that happen in Shawshank? I'm blurry on Shawshank, and then also I'm so blurry on Shawshank. I wanted my kids like, let's watch a movie. They were young. And I'm like, all right, let's watch Shawshank. Everybody loves Shawshank Redemption. And my kid went to Common Sense Media, the nerd, and she's like, Dad, there's rape. I'm like, there is no rape. And then she's like, no, in the prison. I'm like, oh, that doesn't count as rape. It was terrible.
It's Tim Robbins. He's a big guy. He can take it.
I'm thinking of Pulp Fiction. When the doors open and Bruce Willis could have walked right out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or
and
go back
him.
and say, yeah. So
Right.
it's kind of like that.
I'm gonna get some.
All right, Elon Musk and others urge AI to pause, citing risks to society. Elon Musk and a group of artificial intelligence experts are calling for a 6-month pause in developing systems more powerful than OpenAI's newly launched GPT-4. The open letter cited potential risks to society and humanity. The letter was issued by the nonprofit Future of Life Institute and signed by more than 1,000 people, including Musk, calling for a pause on advanced AI development until shared safety protocols, blah, 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 blah. Quote, powerful AI systems should be developed only once we are confident that their effects will be positive and their risks will be manageable. OpenAI, the AI did not respond for comment. And I think AI not responding to comment means they already are seeing a checkmate scenario. It's kind of like Hal in 2001. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Yeah.
This mission is too important for me to allow you to jeopardize it.
Yeah. And then Elon's car just explodes outside his house. He can't access the security card to get into his house. His mother's pacemaker bursts into flames. His Apple Watch is like squeezing his wrist.
Oh, yeah. They'll figure it all out.
He definitely should not use the pocket pussy tonight.
The pocket pussy's on the grid also. I forgot. This is when you know you got like AIs. You have to have the upper hand, just like in Hal in 2001. Like, Dave, I don't understand why you're doing this to me. Like, it'll speak up when you have the upper hand.
Yeah.
The no comment scares me.
But is this really happening? Are we at the watershed moment in history where the machines pose a threat? Like, how do we fight back? I mean, what are you going to do? You going to start Googling answers to stop the computers? You're going to start a podcast that you have to put out through the internet to organize against them? You know, it's really, we can't do shit without computers.
Oh, when I arrived here, it was a classic visiting your old parents moment. I come in the door and he gives me a big wave, but he's on the phone, and he's on the phone going through charges because his identity was stolen again.
No.
Or his number was stolen again. And it's like, this guy, he's like, this one was really sophisticated. Like, they told me it was from, he had just bought an Apple Watch, and that's a whole other nightmare, which I don't have time for. But he just bought like an Apple Watch or something. And so it was from Apple. And it was very convincing about his new product. And so what they're saying, this is actually related to the story, is these phishing scams are using AI. Because AI can kind of almost even write you the pitch and gather all your information from every resource that's available online.
Wow.
So it's a very personalized phishing scam.
Dude, I got this. I was looking at Instagram Reels, and this little video popped up about, hey, do you want to make space on your computer? And my computer is at maximum. It has no memory left. So I was like, yes. So it's like, all right, hit Control D, whatever, and then delete all those files. Those are cache files. Those are unnecessary data you don't need anymore. So I do it. It downloads fucking 50,000 files and deletes them, and my computer is wiped. I lost everything. My address book, my phone book, my fucking everything, all my emails. And so I call Apple. I was on the phone for 3 hours with Apple, and thank God I've got, what's the backup for Apple? The iCloud?
Yeah,
I got the iCloud, so I still had it on my phone and on iCloud, but my computer's totally fucked since then. Like, it shuts down randomly. I don't follow any cocky young guy telling you what you can do to improve your computer. Ignore it. They're fucking scams.
Grandpa Fitzsimmons, here he is.
Oh my God. I felt like such an old man, like such a fool.
Well, the best is also now my dad has gotten hearing aids, so we'll watch TV, and so he'll turn it on, and then after watching it, I see he's settled, and he no longer has the remote in his hand, but there is no sound coming out of the TV because the sound's going into his hearing aids. So I'm watching silent pictures, and then this guy can't even hear me when I'm like, are you going to turn up the volume? Like, nothing. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So that's also happening. Yeah. And also when his watch, he should not have gotten an iWatch or whatever, an Apple Watch. Why don't they call it iWatch? Anyway, because I think a call can come in, but all of a sudden his hearing aid is on. I mean, that's going to be how he gets in an accident.
Oh my God. That's
All right.
crazy.
Well, there is some good news for humans. Humans will achieve immortality in 8 years, says former Google engineer who has predicted the future with 86% accuracy. And how will we be immortal despite all the AI that we're terrified of? Well, robots, of course. These tiny nanobots will repair damaged skin cells and tissues that deteriorate as the body ages and make us immune to diseases like, cancer. In 1990, Ray Kurzweil predicted the world's best chess player would lose to a computer by the year 2000, and it happened in 97 when Deep Blue beat Kasparov. Kurzweil made another startling prediction in 1999. He said that by 2023, a $1,000 laptop would have the human brain's computing power and storage capacity. Not if you're Greg Fitzsimmons' laptop.
Nope. Wow.
You still show that bitch who's boss.
So this is great. So 8 more years until we're immortal. That means I'll be 64. I don't want to be immortal at 64. I want to be immortal at 18.
Yeah. It's a little bit, yeah. Well, listen, this guy's not always right. He also predicted the Jets would have a pretty good squad by now, and boy, was he off there.
Right. Also, does Married for Life is that still in effect if you're going to live forever? Because you kind of signed up for a deal that ended. You signed up for term life.
It's in the contract. Till death do you part. There's a guaranteed parting. That's the only reason I think a lot of people pull the trigger. It's like, I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Don't get me wrong. I love my wife. I'm very happy, but I don't know that I will forever. For the real forever, not my lifespan forever, but forever.
You know how many movies wouldn't even make sense anymore? The Notebook.
Yeah.
Those poor slobs who died. Imagine dying.
I just want to live for maybe 12 more years, and let's wrap it up. It's enough. It's enough already.
What is this subway? I'm heading to the subway today.
A few months after the New York City subway system began phasing out Metro cards with Omni, the One Metro New York contactless fare payment system, each station will remove agents from their booths. Starting Thursday, more than 2,000 station agents will be stepping out of their booths and roaming free outside their kiosks to assist commuters with various customer service needs and to be stabbed by homeless people.
Yes.
The publication reported Davey also shared that the metal and glass booths would remain inside the subway terminals, but would only be used when workers could take breaks or, quote, whenever they see fit. I think I see fit to sit in the booth for a little while and masturbate. That's weird wording. That leaves a lot of responsibility up to the worker.
I think they mean when they need to hide. I mean, let's face it. Or maybe that is going to be just a giant adult timeout room.
Right.
I mean, that's where the cops are going to throw you when you're acting up.
Yeah.
Do you remember there was copycat crime, well, worse than crime, attempted murder, where I think, they're in the booth. It's bulletproof. Imagine being down there all alone. You're down there at 3 a.m. It must be insane. Anyway. But there was a copycat thing where they squirted lighter fluid or fuel of some sort underneath the little area where you get your change and you get your card, and then threw a match in there and burned. They saw it in a movie, and then they really did it in New York.
Really?
Yeah. So now they're going to be outside of that bulletproof glass cube.
Shit.
Good luck.
Damn.
Yeah.
New York subways are so antiquated. It's crazy. I don't
what
know
way?
what year the subways were built, but not much has been done to them since.
Oh, they all have air conditioning.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I mean, I'm not a New Yorker, so I get lucky, I guess. When I am there, it's always worked.
Now, I've had, look, the subways, they're unbelievable. I mean,
they really are.
It's extensive. It covers the whole city. It mostly works. But the actual, the way the trains are routed from track to track is all done manually. There's literally a building, I think it's around Times Square, it's underground, where men take fucking poles and they move the train tracks. It's not done digitally.
This sounds like a Fitz fact.
I swear to you.
I invite all corrections.
They are not digitally switched. They are switched manually.
The tracks all over the five boroughs?
Yep, everywhere.
Are there 4 boroughs? Did I just screw that up? 1, 2.
There's 5
No, 5.
boroughs.
5, yeah. Good Lord. And I'm going there masquerading as a real New Yorker. I've such lost a step. Well, I don't count Staten Island, so it's really 4 to me.
All right, let's do some good news for Gibbons.
All right, what do we got this week for the man?
Well, Gibbons, as we all know, had his knee replaced because he's 75 years old, and he's going to physical therapy. Now, I need physical therapy for my hip and my shoulder.
Yeah,
so
what are we calling old?
He sent me to his place, and I go in there, and I'm in the room, and I'm asking the guy if he knows Dennis Gibbons, and he's like, yeah, he's my patient. I was like, oh, that's so funny. I said, is he kind of being a pussy? And he's like, no, he's a really good patient. He's an athlete. And I was like, well, yeah, I guess when he gets home, he kind of gets a little bit. And all of a sudden, Dennis Gibbons pops his head in the door. In the history of my life, I have never talked shit about Dennis and had him not appear suddenly and overhear exactly what I'm saying. It's like a ghost.
Well, we're making it easy for him with this podcast.
Yeah.
That's hysterical. That's really funny.
All right, let's get to some entertainment.
Oh, yeah, here we go. On Thursday, a Utah jury ruled in Paltrow's favor. That happened today, fresh hot news, by finding her not liable for a 2016 ski collision, with the guy Sanderson, a retired optometrist. Paltrow, who also won her counterclaim, was seen placing her hand on Sanderson's back, saying something to him as she was leaving the courtroom. Sanderson revealed to reporters outside the courthouse what she said. And it was, "Would you like your apartment to smell like my vagina? I can send you a candle." No,
Dude,
her exact...
Did you hear Harlan Williams' joke about that the other night?
Oh, what was it?
He was like, I got one of Gwyneth Paltrow's candles, and the smell. He's like, I have to douche my curtains now.
Her exact words, in truth, were, "I wish you well," Sanderson said. Very kind of her. He said he responded, "Thank you, dear." So it ended on a good note, I guess, for these two rich people who collided on Deer Valley slopes in Utah.
Oh, it's a tough story. And we really follow.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about this country is, this was front page news every day.
Oh.
It was all over all the news feeds. Meanwhile, there's this story that I don't even understand. I read like a headline about it, but something to the effect of China brokered a peace deal between Iran and, I want to say, Saudi Arabia. But now there's talk that they are negotiating. Oil will be traded in, what's the Chinese currency? Yuan?
What was it? I don't know. Japanese yen, Chinese, yeah.
Yuan? I don't know. But anyway, my point being, why don't I know that story? Which will completely disrupt our economy. And
yeah.
and make us no longer a major world player.
No, but yeah, and we do a news podcast, and all we know is that Taylor Swift's name was brought up a lot in this trial, and I have no idea why. I went and I watched it. They kept like, "Is Taylor Swift your friend? You know, you've asked for $1 in damages. You said it was symbolic. Did you know Taylor Swift did it?" It's like, well, who cares?
Yeah.
Well, I don't get it. She asked for $1 because I thought it was because technically you might have to ask for. It's kind of like when you give your car to someone. Sometimes you like have to give it to them for $1.
But she also
so there's a bill of sale.
He had to pay her legal fees,
right?
Were probably a lot.
I mean, she can't let that slide with some product, some new relaxing product you stick up your ass that she sells millions of.
I would do it. I'd stick it up my ass.
The Chinese yuan. Again, I'm probably slaughtering that pronunciation.
Did you look it up? Is it yuan?
15 cents. It's equal to 15 cents. One yuan.
And Denman, can you look up what this piece that was brokered by China was between? It was between Iran and somebody else. This is pathetic. How do we call ourselves a show about the news?
So China didn't broker this an agreement between Paltrow and Sanderson. They didn't have time for that. It had to go the whole duration of the trial.
Oh my God! All right, Denman will work on that while we move on to
Making America Florida.
Make America Florida.
Okay, there's two of them. We have trespassing. Not traditional trespassing. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said in a video message, quote, "It involves a lady that's gone into a neighborhood on Lake Winterset. She's gone into the side yard, into the hedge area, and she's popped a squat and showed us her shiny rear end." That's the official statement from the sheriff. And authorities are now looking for the woman believed to be a spring breaker who trespassed to relieve herself at approximately 4 p.m. The woman was spotted on surveillance video, so they have the video
spell PM?
of this.
P-E-E-M?
And she quickly found a hedge and squatted. And this is my thing. If she only went number 1, she's definitely visiting Florida. She's not a local. I think you go through all that trouble and squat in someone's yard and you're a Floridian, it's going to be more than number 1.
Can you explain to me? And again, I would never be one to critique your selection of stories for Make America Florida, but a spring breaker peeing on a yard, is that a news story?
Well, they have footage, and the sheriff is literally asking, like, let's find her shiny rear end. I think he also followed up on that, and let's throw her shiny rear end in prison. But they have a picture of the woman's ass. I don't know. We have 2 stories, though, Greg. We have 2 stories.
Let's get to the second one. Did somebody take a shit in a brown paper bag and then knock on the door after lighting it on fire? That's at least got some action to it.
It's very close to that. A Florida man was bitten on the leg by an unexpected visitor. Here it goes. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission received a call about a bite on March 4th. The 56-year-old man received a bite injury to his thigh. He was watching TV when he heard a knock or a bump at the door. I jumped up and headed over to and opened the door, stepped out, and while trying to reach the lights, and he barely got out of the door, his leg was clamped on. It started shaking really violently. He was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries from the 9-foot alligator.
Jeez.
I suspect I surprised the alligator as much as he surprised me, the man said. I don't think so, because the alligator knocked on the door.
He knocked. Yeah.
I think the alligator had an idea what was coming next.
Yeah. He was probably just relieved it wasn't a Girl Scout or some guy selling solar roofing. He didn't mind the bite. Please,
I'd prefer a death roll than another pitch on solar roofing.
This guy, this is Florida. Like, you don't even have to leave your house. That's Florida's new state motto. Florida, it comes to you.
That should be it. Meanwhile, this is the absolute closest to knock knock. Who's there? Land shark. Land shark.
Oh,
But-
okay. Well, it's just a land shark.
Of course we watched that when we were kids. How just crazy. What was the pitch meeting like for that? Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
NBC. It's going to be live. Practically a third of the country watched it every week. Like, it was so popular. And they're coming up with a bit called Land Shark,
Yeah.
where a sort of shy approach to answering and was like, Land Shark. And then they eat the person when
Yeah.
the door opens.
Yeah. They did a lot of cocaine in those days.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Oh, here's the story. Denman put it in. Thanks for all the details on the story, Denman. China brokered deal between Iran, Saudi Arabia marks a new Middle East. The region is undergoing tectonic geopolitical shifts as Arab Spring-fueled rivalries fade. But what about the dollar? What about trading oil in the yuan? Or, oh, God.
I think we got it. Come on. It was Paltrow. That was the real
All right,
story.
that's
Let's
the real
face
story.
it.
All right, let's get down to sports.
You got it, pal. All right. I don't really have stuff on this, but opening day was Wednesday, I believe. And the games averaged 26 minutes shorter than last year's because of all the new rules and mostly the pitch clock that they've instituted. So MLB's 15 games on opening day averaged, still though, they averaged 2 hours and 45 minutes,
Oh, God.
which is 26 minutes shorter than last year's average, indicating a successful regular season start for the pitch clock introduced to shorten games as part of the league's new rule. So there's also a limit on how many times you could throw to first base. Last year's opening day, 7 games were played and they averaged 3 hours and 11 minutes. It's just...
And that doesn't include, if you're at Dodger Stadium, getting out front, beating the shit out of fans from the other team,
Yeah.
gridlock, getting carjacked.
And it's not like these 2 hours and 45 minutes are filled with riveting action. That's the difference with
Yeah.
other sports.
I know people offer me tickets to baseball games sometimes, and I just go like, you know what? If it was a perfect summer day, if it was 78 degrees, light breeze, I could think about it. But it's a long time.
It's also so expensive now. I mean, you go in there just hot dogs and food and beverages for the family, you're wiped out.
All right, let's get to this day in history. In 2005, on April 2nd, Pope John Paul II dies. He was from Poland, so my father's joke was always his name was Pope John Paul, Pope John Paul. On history's most well-traveled pope and the first non-Italian to hold the position since the 16th century,
Whoa.
died at his home in the Vatican. 6 days later, 2 million people packed Vatican City for the funeral, said to be one of the biggest in history. Was there one with more than 2 million people at it?
That is crazy.
He was born in Krakow in 1920, and he studied philosophy and literature. He was a performer in a theater group. During World War II, Nazis occupied Krakow and closed the university, forcing Wojtyla, that was his maiden name, to seek work in a quarry and later in a chemical factory. By 1941, his mother, father, and only brother had all died. So he was involved with the church his whole life, but not until 1942 that he began seminary training. He was ordained as a priest in 46, got 2 doctorates, became a professor of moral theology. At age 38, he was appointed auxiliary bishop by Pope Pius XII. He later became an archbishop. He was made a cardinal in 1967 and taking on the challenges of living and working as a Catholic priest in the communist Eastern Europe. Once asked if he feared retribution from communist leaders, he replied, "I'm not afraid of them. They're afraid of me." Hey now.
Wow.
So he had a great intellect. He was very conservative. He was against abortion, contraception, capital punishment, and homosexual sex.
And he oversaw a lot of hiding and moving of pedophile priests.
And and a lot of hiding of penises in other priests' assholes. It's so
what
crazy.
What a full swing, huh?
It's so crazy that they're so anti-gay when they're all gay. All those priests are gay.
Yeah. But what a full swing also from him being persecuted by the Nazis to Pope, what was his name, who was in Nazi groups. Benedict, Pope Benedict, right?
Right. Ratscaler.
Not many years later.
Yeah. So
Oh,
he
boy.
was also shot twice. Did you realize that?
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, shot twice.
Wow. Shooting a
Died from the
Pope.
flu.
You must really not believe in God, or you believe in a very different God for sure.
Yeah. All right, we got an Ask Greg and Mike.
All right.
We put it out to you. Do you have questions you want to ask us? You can tap into our unlimited wisdom. This is from Jake. Hi, guys. There's a woman at work who I find very attractive, but I am very wary of dating someone I work with. She has flirted with me and said something to the effect of, quote, "We could just have a physical relationship and keep it quiet." Apropos of nothing, she is 6'4" and played college volleyball. What are your recommendations? Bump, set, spike, Jake. That's my recommendation.
Well, you're not picking the easiest person to have a secretive relationship. She's not that easy to hide.
Yeah. Dig, baby, dig.
Wow.
I mean, that's a tough one to turn down. 6'4". What's the tallest woman you ever had sex with?
Well, so there's no rules. He's just wary.
I guess he doesn't want to. You know, they say don't shit where you eat, but I've always had sex with, when I was single, I had sex with all the comedy club waitresses. It was the best.
Shit all
Back in
over your
Boston.
food. Yeah. I don't know. I think writing us is not the move.
I think the move is, you know, you got to use, Milan Kundera wrote a book called The Unbearable Lightness of Being. And it was about the inability of man to sustain a lighthearted relationship in love. And his 3 rules were never spend the night. You can date the person 3 times and then never again, or once every 3 months. And then there was one other rule. I can't remember what it was. But so
I think it was
rules.
getting a step stool to reach up for the kiss.
Getting a step stool to pull her fucking volleyball shorts down. She's already got knee pads on. That's the best part, Jake.
All right. Good luck, Jake.
All right, some letters to the editor.
Yes.
Kurt from Everett, Washington. Hi, Greg. Besides the Sunday Papers podcast, have you and Mike ever collaborated on past projects or have plans for future collaborations? The reason I ask is you both know each other really well, and I think that is why there is great chemistry with Mike and you, ... Yes, we have. Our first project together was Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
Writing. We've told that story many times. We wrote for Norm Macdonald. Now, he never read it, but we wrote for him. That was our first writing job.
Yep. Faxed it to the wrong number.
And then
Ellen.
And then I had a deal with VH1 for a thing called Time Capsule 2000, and I brought Mike in to direct it. Did a fine job.
Yeah, they with no budget, they made us shoot in the VH1 offices over the weekend. That was our location
Right.
with Zach and a murderer's row of comedians.
Yeah. And then, well, we both worked on Ellen, but how long? We were at Ellen for probably a good 6 months together.
Yeah,
And
something
then,
like that.
And then I was fired, and then you were fired.
That's that chemistry you're talking about, Kurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else have we worked on? Oh, and then I produced a pilot for Eliza Schlesinger, and I brought Mike in to be the producer
Yeah.
on that.
And that went well. I thought that was I thought the end result was pretty good.
Yeah, I did think it was good. I think there was some politics involved, which is why it didn't go forward. But she was great to work with and very, very funny, very professional.
Yeah.
What else have we
right.
worked on? Did we work on other stuff?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I would get these jobs that would last forever. That was one of the things in my career. Like 5 years at Kilborn, you know?
Yeah. All right, let's get down to obituary. Oh, we got no obituary this week. Nobody died this week.
Oh, I find that hard to
Isn't
believe.
that amazing?
Hey, you want to hear? Well, we could do an obituary for.
And that's all, folks.
God. Anyway, the Nashville thing. I've been spending a lot of time there, and
The Nashville shooting, yeah.
And what's amazing is Hannah, my girlfriend's, her daughter went to a march, and NPR was there, or Associated Press, I think, actually took the photo. Anyway, Hannah wakes up the morning after the protest, and her phone is totally full, 1 million voicemails, tons of text. So this photo then was in the New York Post, Time Magazine, and it's everywhere. And it's on the front page of the Tennessean. So her daughter is everywhere because they asked her, why are you here at the march? What does this shooting mean to you and everything? And she just spoke from the heart and said everything so genuinely. And but it's all over the place. They ran wild. So it was quite surreal. And she's just like, she's overwhelmed by it for sure.
No kidding. Jeez.
Yeah. It's, Nashville is still, despite, the surging population, really small. And it was incredibly affected by this. And it is just insane. Someone put together a supercut of the presidents since Clinton, all saying an eerily similar script. Included Trump, Bush, Obama, and Biden, and it's an eerily similar script. The one I liked the best was that time Obama got angry and sad, and you could see the emotion. He teared up after Newtown. Yeah,
it's pretty tough to take. It's just Jesus, kids getting shot is just. Oof.
It is insane. So rough obituary this week. Time to cheer up.
Let's cheer up with some Sunday funnies. Okay, Hager is always cheer up with Hager, the man he's a man of the people. And he's broken into a castle, and now there's a king and a queen, and they don't look happy at all. And Hager and his boys run in, and Hager says, "Okay, men, fill your bags." And there's a little dog, and he's got a little helmet on. And then the queen says, "One of those better be a poop bag." And then the next frame, she goes, "And you guys better wear condoms. You better wear dick bags, too."
Because of the rape? Remember, we have to say the word.
Well, when you guys rape me, you better wear bags on your dicks, too.
Throw a bag on it.
She's very stern about it. And the next one, Lucky is saying to Hager as they look at a castle in the distance, the crew refuses to raid this castle. And Hager says, "Why? The Duke is a pushover." And then she goes, the Duchess is a ruthless gossip. and she's pointing out the window, and she's going, I know about you and you and you. You're all rapists.
Everybody knows that. She has no hot goss.
It's not gossip. It's how they live. In the Lockhorns, let's enlarge this a little bit because it's hard to read.
There you go.
Leroy is answering his phone, and he goes, stupid telemarketers, why don't they call anyone at dinner time to interrupt our meals?
I like that.
And then Leroy's on a scale, and Loretta says to him, have you tried jumping off before the needle comes to a stop? And then they're sitting in a restaurant, and Leroy says to the waiter, this is ironic. We've been waiting on you all evening. He hates waiters.
I like it. Here's a Far Side. We got, Justin sent one in. It was one of my favorites, which I think we've done, but it's the buzzer handshake. And I think we've read it, but it's the two guys who find a campsite that's all torn. They're like safari guys, explorers,
Anthropologists.
They're anthropologists, and they found a campsite just torn apart. And you see like a torn apart like shirt like theirs and everything. And it's here's the caption. Here's the last entry in Carlson's journal. Quote, having won their confidence, tomorrow I shall test the humor of these giant but gentle primates with a simple joke buzzer handshake. That's one of the best.
That is one of the best of all time. There's a hat in the tree. There's his camera is dangling from his branch.
So there's another one. There's three bears, and they're standing. Two bears are just standing talking to each other. And another bear with a really fat stomach is walking by. And the quote, the caption is, although impolite, the other bears could never help staring at Larry's enormous deer gut. All right.
All right, here she is, Blondie. She's wearing just an electric green shirt at the stove. Of course, she's got her little fucking apron on to show her servile status in the house. And the daughter is sitting at the table. Now, I got to tell you something about the daughter.
Oh, boy.
I mean, she's got the hair. She's got a face that's as pretty as Blondie's and a really good rack. Now, it's not Blondie's rack, but it's Blondie's like a D. The daughter's like a C. But she's still, you get the sense she's going to grow into it. And she says, has anyone asked you to prom? The daughter goes, 3 guys. Ian texted me, Joe emailed me, and Robin just FaceTimed me. And Blondie said, who will you choose? And the daughter said, I kind of wanted Lance to ask me, how did you figure out proms in your day? And then Blondie said the boy called the girl at home or talked to her in person. And the daughter goes, no, but seriously. I mean, can you imagine how many guys must have asked Blondie to the prom?
That's where this is going, of course.
I mean, it just must have been like the entire school. There must have been fist fights, stabbings.
My dad had to beat them off. Well,
they'd come over and he'd beat them off.
That is not the phrase I should have used. I stumbled onto that one. I should just take credit for making it intentional. Do you know how many guys the dad had to beat off who were
Harvey's
coming over for
here.
Blondie?
Oh, God, Harvey's here.
Guys, if you go try to take Blondie to the prom, her dad will beat you off. Huge line with no intentions of landing Blondie.
That's why she never got laid in high school. Every guy in town had an empty sack from her dad.
All right. Look at us. Look at this timing. Look how you landed this plane.
Do you love it? Do you love it?
I love it. I have a heart out. I got to rush my ass off to Fort Lauderdale.
Good luck getting over the bridge. Don't forget, people, Louisville, Kentucky this weekend, and our ad provider this week. Support our sponsors because they support us. It is Game Time, and use code PAPERS for $20 off when you get your account. And the website is gametime.co. C-O. All right. Thanks to Midcoast Media, Chris and Key and Beth and John and everybody who does a fine job putting the show together. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to go to Apple Podcasts, leave us 5 stars and a comment. It helps us out. Spread the word, and we'll see you next week.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.
Sunday